Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today I have a fun new video. It'll be part of a new series I'm starting on my channel, Tip Tuesdays. So every Tuesday I'm going to try to have a quick little tip video for you guys, showing tips on storage, tips on certain craft supplies, just things like that that don't really need a whole huge video, just something really quick. And so for today I wanted to show you some stamp storage tips. So this isn't 100% my idea. Again, Tanya, we talk back and forth all the time and we're always inspiring each other. And so she had done something where she took all of her Word Fetty stamps and put them in one of her clear photo boxes, like on the lid. And that way she had them all together. Well, I decided to take that the next step further and what would work for the supplies I have and the space I have. And so I made little customized stamp sets. So you'll recognize some of these stamps are from all different stamp sets from Illustrated Faith over the last couple years. Some of them aren't available anymore, but what I found was that a lot of times I would forget that I had certain stamps, or I wouldn't reach for them because they're all in my bin. And if I'm looking for just, a little set of crosses or something like that, I might miss it because I'm not seeing it all the time. And so I decided to kind of break apart my stamp sets and find a way to make them more useful. So what I went through all of my Illustrated Faith sets and pulled out any phrases, so word fetties, words, and just kind of picked and chose ones that I thought that I would use again and again and again. And that way, when I'm working on a page and I know that I need a certain word to stamp with, I can just go to these sets right here and everything is all right there. I'm not having to flip through, dozens and dozens of stamp sets. I've got all my words right here, and if it's not here, then I don't have it. Same thing with my textures. So I went through all of my stamp sets from Illustrated Faith and pulled out the different textures that I have. Little hearts, little crosses, these brush strokes. These are all from different stamp sets, and then just combine them all together. And so they're all right here where I can grab them and know what I need more of, what I'm missing, or what I have that I can use. So I wanted to show you how I did this. And I pulled some other stamps. Okay, so I pulled these sets and I decided to make a set with arrows. So all the different arrows that I have in these sets, you can see there's teeny tiny ones, big fat ones, but I might not always go, like this is one of the, I think this is the second set. This is, oh, beautiful. This is the second set they did with Dayspring, and I don't always reach for the set, one, because it's not available anymore, and so I try not to use products that aren't available anymore for your guys' sake, but really I need to use what I have. I need to use what I've spent money for, and so I'm going to start pulling these out and using these. So all these little arrows here. So I went through all my sets that had arrows and pulled those out, and I'm going to show you how I make those stamp sets. Okay, so I've gone ahead and pulled out my stamp positioning tool. This one's no longer available. I haven't gotten a new one yet. There is a Tim Holtz stamp positioner that you can use that would work probably even better than this one. I'll link it down below. I think that this is a little bit easier with a stamp positioning tool if you're going to stamp on the front of this acetate. If you're not, then this isn't needed. I went ahead and pulled out all the arrows from all those different sets and got them all together. I have here some clear transparency sheets. These come in an 8.5 by 11. I cut them down, I cut that sheet into four pieces. So I have 5.5 by 4.25 size pieces of transparency. This is pretty thin. You could use any clear plastic packaging that you have that you want to reuse. This is just what I had in my stash, so I went ahead and cut those down. And you could skip the stamping. You could just go ahead and stick all of these pieces down on here and do it just like that, no problem. You don't have to stamp on the acetate, but I like the look of when the stamp is pulled off. I've got that where I know right where it goes back, and that way I know if I'm missing any stamps. And so it kind of looks more like the factory made stamp set. So I'm going to show you how to do that using the stamp positioning tool. So I'm going to go ahead and stick all of these on positioned on this acetate, and then I'll be right back. So I've gone ahead and positioned all my stamps. They are like stamp side down, so flat side facing up. And I just kind of evenly spaced them out. I left myself some room, so in future sets, if I get more arrows, I have more room to stick some more on here. And then with the stamp positioning tool, all you have to do is slide the door over, or flip the door over, press down to pick up all those stamps. Some of my dirty ones might not stick, we'll see. And it does, because it's sticky, it picks up that transparency. That's okay, you can just peel it off. And I'm going to stick my magnets down here just to hold it. Make sure they're not going to stamp. Okay, so now that they are on the door, to stamp on here, you want to use something like Stays On ink. Lots of inks are not going to dry on this clear transparency. So I'm using Stays On ink. My pad is old. I need a new one. And so it's going to fight me, but I just didn't have time to buy new ones. Here to see, I really have to ink this up. Okay, so I got it as good as it's going to get with my dry pad. I'm going to flip this over and then just press down. Now the great thing about the stamp positioning tool is if I don't get good impressions, I can just ink it up and stamp it again and it'll be right in the same spot. I'm not wanting anything perfect. It's just for my use, so I'm not worried about that. But I want to make sure I can see where everything goes. So I can see I'm missing a lot of little arrows, so I'm going to go back in and ink this up again. Make sure that's going to be lined up. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up a second time. Okay, again, got it as good as I can. I'll just flip this over, and it should be right in the same spot since I left that piece in the same place. So I'll just push that down. Stays On is a sticky ink, and so it wants to pull up that sheet when you open the door, but that's okay. Just pull that off. And now if I put this against the white, you can see I don't have perfect impressions, but at least I can kind of see where those stamps go on this sheet. So to clean my stamps, you want to make sure you clean your stamps really well when you use Stays On ink. I like to use this Ranger stamp cleaner. I just spray this on them while they're still on the door. And then I just have a cloth. I don't like to use a paper towel because it leaves little fuzzies, but you can see this just wipes the ink right off. So now that stamp is clean, and it's easy to clean them if they're still stuck on that door. This one's filthy and should have been cleaned a long time ago. So I'm going to go ahead and clean all those. Okay, so now I can take these stamps and stick them. So I flip this over and I can stick these, let me get it the right way, down just like you would one of your regular factory made stamp sets. That stamp's a little bit difficult. Just like that. So I'll go through and I'll just match them all up just like that. Put this backer sheet on, and then I've got my custom stamp set. So I hope that was a fun, helpful little tip for your storage. Jill over on the Illustrative Faith YouTube group had shared something similar, and she showed how when she's working on a devotional, she'll go through and pull stamps that go with that particular devotional that she's working on, and so then you wouldn't necessarily have to stamp it. You could just leave this blank, put those in there, and switch them out with each devotional. So I hope this helps you get more use out of your stamp sets. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comments down below. Subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified of any future videos I have, including future Tip Tuesday videos. If you have ideas for Tip Tuesdays, be sure to leave those in the comments down below, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.